They have been telling us about this for nearly 2 decades now, and it is finally happening, the final battle of World of Warcraft. You might remember the offer Xerath gave to Illidan back in Legion, and it looks like him refusing this might have been a mistake, no matter how badass it sounded. She saw him as the leader of the final battle against the Void. Velen got the exact same vision in Cataclysm, and his action was to start settling the Draenei on Azeroth, which is literally what is happening right now in the Draenei Heritage questline with the new capital. Even more interestingly, we just learned the Light Emperor got the same vision 15 years ago, which lines up perfectly as the exact same time Velen got this vision. The only difference was he acted right away. He sent a massive army to fight the so-called Harbinger and her grotesque army of many limbs. He calls it Renilash, the final battle against the Void, and seeing that we got a book talking about this vision, it is pretty much exactly what is happening right now in the War Within and Midnight. By all accounts, this should be way bigger than the strongest Burning Legion invasion, and it is going to be crazy. The return of Sargeras, Illidan, Anduin, Velen, this new Light Emperor. So what is Renilash?
So I recently checked that one state, and if you're into roleplay, this is literally the coolest thing you can do right now on your phone. This is an open world game with 500 plus people online in a single map, a real-life simulator in a vast open world, and you can choose your own destiny. Some play as cops and enforce the law, some as soldiers, and you can even form your own gangs. They just released a major update called It's Tagging Time, where they introduced the opportunity for players to create their own gang and compete for the title of the most formidable organization in the city. You can have your own base, do missions, hang out with your crew, and gear up with weapons for new challenges. Coolest thing is, it is based on real-world maps with really amazing optimized graphics. So it's never been a better time to start playing One State. Click on the link in the description below and use my promo code and join me in-game. One State. Create your own story.
If you've been following the beta or the alpha, you must have heard of the name Renilash by now. Originally, by mistake, I thought this was a continent or a zone, but this is an event, and better yet, the event, the battle for Azeroth that is going to be coming. Think of it something like Ragnarok, the end times. Super long story short, but there is a Light Emperor on an undiscovered continent. He got a vision, sent a huge expedition, which are these yellowfall humans we're discovering in Kanzlagar. Seems more like a legend, but when you actually connect this to the old and established lore, it is amazing how interconnected it all is. They have been telling us about this for nearly 2 decades, and now it is finally happening. First time we ever heard about this dark vision or Light Vision was back in Cataclysm. The Prophet, Velen, really the most ancient character at the moment who can predict the future, hence the name Prophet, suddenly got this vision that shook him to the core. And seeing that this is a guy that saw planets destroyed multiple times, he's not exactly a person that gets easily shook. So around the time of Cataclysm, Velen got the vision of every Horde and Alliance race standing shoulder to shoulder, armored and armed with glowing weaponry, light enhanced. Flying mounts were everywhere, Naru, and innumerable dragons. Keep in mind the dragons because that is incredibly relevant now as Dragonflight is wrapping up. This gigantic army was led by a human warrior in shiny armor. At the moment it could be Tyrellian or Anduin, even though they're not technically warriors, but those are specifics. Also, it could be the Light Emperor. We don't really know if he's a warrior or a paladin. What Velen saw was Azeroth as a gigantic battleground. He was so taken back by this vision that he instructed the Draenei to remain on Azeroth and to make his own people and planet strong. Guess what just happened at the end of Dragonflight? We got the Draenei Heritage questline of them finally setting here permanently, building a new Draenei capital city, and uniting all the Draenei races that are technically Draenei, so the demon ones, the broken, and even the half-orcs. As Velen said, we must prepare the people of this world to stand together. We must be their example to rally against evil. In service, we will awaken them all to form the ultimate alliance against the dark. Another one of Velen's visions saw Anduin as an old man leading the gigantic light army in the final battle against the Void. Now later, it was said that this is just one of the possible realities, but let's be real, Anduin is currently the main character of the entire saga, or at least the War Within, and while he's not exactly an old man, he has mentally aged quite a lot over the years, so this vision is no longer crazy. Now you might think, not a big deal, this is just one of the old visions, but let me just show you how this not only connects with Xerath and Legion as well as Illidan and his possible return, but also the new books we have found in the beta about Yarathi and their visions, and you will see that this is definitely coming soon and it has been foreshadowed for so long. So chronologically, next down the line, the big continuation of this vision happened with the Prime Naru Zera. You might remember the entire ordeal of her trying to convert Illidan and then Illidan having the badass moment of saying, "My destiny is my own," but she might have actually been onto something here. I've been talking about this for a while now. Us defeating the Legion was really not that big of a deal, even though it seemed like the end of Warcraft back in like 2016. We had saved Azeroth, but by doing that, we had exposed ourselves to an even larger attack that is going to be happening right now. As you might know, the Burning Legion existed solely to deal with the Void Lord threat. They constantly attacked us, they destroyed multiple planets as a part of this plan, and we were always caught in the way, but the entire reason Sargeras started the entire thing was to destroy the Void Lords. His forces were constantly battling the Void on many fronts that we never saw. Now, check this out. We imprisoned him, we broke this army, and that gave the Void Lords open hands to focus all their efforts on our planet. Well, Prime Naru Zera saw the exact same thing nearly 10 years ago. Zera believed that the Legion is really not that big of a deal. She believed the Void was a far, far greater foe, and that all the people needed to be united, and that Illidan was the one that was destined to be the hero and lead the army against them. In her vision, Illidan was supposed to lead legions of the light against the gigantic Void creatures on a terrible battlefield with mountains of corpses. Now, you might realize that this vision of the Prime Naru is kind of the exact same thing as the one given to Velen. It is likely that Zera might be the one that planted that in his head as well. However, it's the same thing. Two giant armies of opposite forces battling on a massive battlefield. The only difference is a human leading in the vision of Velen, while Illidan is leading in Zera's vision. I've talked about this so many times by now, but Illidan is almost certainly going to return, and while he might not lead the light army, he's definitely going to be relevant. By all the new lore, there is obviously a huge lie going on with the Titans, the entire Sargeras split. The Titans will return, and Illidan, as the jailer of Sargeras, is definitely not just going to remain chilling there serving the Titan Pantheon as they're destroying our planet. Just like how he realized how to deal with the Legion and go by all the means necessary, I think he might realize that him killing Zera and dealing with the Legion was a short-term solution, and that the big problem is about to come. Now, speculation aside, I want to show you the new info. We not only got new dialogues from the beta, but also books that continue on this vision, and now you will see how all of this is not only connected, but it is actually coming. And when I say coming, I mean it's literally going to be coming soon. So by this point, you might know about the Light Emperor. I don't want to repeat myself again. I got multiple videos on this, but let me just give you the shortest bullet points of everything we know for certain. The Empire is very rich and powerful. They consider themselves the successors, or not even successors, but the actual Arathi Empire. They left the continent of the Eastern Kingdoms, but it's not like they're a breakaway kingdom like Lordran, but they still consider themselves the Arathi Empire. They're a mix between humans and high elves. Over time, they developed a really powerful new form of light magic, unlike anything we had seen before, the Sacred Flame, something of like a mix between light and fire. They are very light devoted, they seem very fanatical, as in proclaiming they will die for the Emperor, and they also might not exactly be their good guys. This is kind of ambiguous at the moment. Some dialogue implies that they might not like a lot of the other playable races. So about 15 years ago, the enlightened Emperor of this powerful empire got the vision. I want you to keep in mind the timeline, as this is pretty much happened exactly when Velen got the vision during Cataclysm. Seeing that both of them are light servants of the Naru, it is almost certain they got the vision from the same source, but maybe different variations. However, the actions were drastically different. Velen got really worried, decided to consolidate his people, but the Emperor just acted. And not just acted, I mean acted immediately. Sent a gigantic army to go to battle right away. No convincing and prophecies, he was like, yeah, this is it, we gotta go. The Hell of All Humans are what remains of this expedition, and originally they were a much larger army. As we had learned, they had ventured through a gigantic storm, got immediately teleported underground to the Light Crystal Beledar that is in Hell of All. The thing is, this was only supposed to be the invasion point. He didn't just send a few of these guys. Originally, mages were supposed to open portals here and connect the mainland so they can receive reinforcements, but they all just ended up dying in the crash. Now, the humans originally thought they might have been screwed over, as in they were just teleported to this random place instead of this giant battle, but by all what is going on right now, it seems like they are exactly where they should be. They just arrived 15 years earlier to set the ground. Now, check out the new book from the beta called A Song of Renilash that gives more context on this vision and what is going on. The Arathi, the Guardians of the Sacred Flame, form the Aegis Shield, which is a battle formation, and the forces of the Harbinger arrived. Nightmares of legs and claws with a grotesque dance echo the rhythms of the world that is on the brink of destruction. The wall built of living rock of the Titans bore the conflict, and the remnants of the gods scattered across the battlefield. Amidst the chaos, the Forgotten One cried when the last star fades, the Emperor's crown will wave way heavy with the sins of 1,000 years. Now, immediately, you can see that this vision they got of Renilash, the battle that is to come, is pretty much exactly what is happening right now in the World Soul Saga. Unlike Villain's ambiguous vision of the giant light and dark army that is going to come to Azeroth, the Emperor got the vision of the forces of the Harbinger way before we even knew that Xal'atath is a thing. He knew about Xal'atath and her Nerubian army that is coming, and he knew that the world will be on the brink of destruction, as you can obviously see from the new trailer with what is going on with those void-like shadows going over Azeroth, which, by the way, is exactly what destroyed Karesh. The only thing is, this is happening 15 years later than he had seen, but then again, we don't really know the full details of this vision. The wall built of living rock of the Titans is really interesting. It might include something with the Earthen, or it might be talking about this happening on top of Titan structures, maybe the new facility we had to discover. Remember, the Titan facility of Ul'dah has been foreshadowed. It is still a mystery, but we know it exists for certain, we just don't know where it is. Even more interestingly, remnants of gods scattered across the battlefield, and they're also talking about the Forgotten One. Could it be possible that the Forgotten One is the 5th old god that we've been talking about for quite a while, that we discovered in the mural that Xal'atath is getting the blood of? Check out my previous video on this because it's super interesting. Also, interesting enough, you can talk to an Arathi guy, and he says he's also confused who these gods are. Are these gods we're yet to meet, gods that died long ago, or something entirely different? And they're kind of leaving this open-ended and mysterious. Furthermore, if you want an even bigger confirmation, we got it from the source itself, Chris Metzen, who told us that the final battle of the Light and the Void is going to be happening on Azeroth at midnight, where things will spiral wildly out of control. So, what Villain saw was right, what Zero saw was right, what Emperor saw was right. How this event is going to play out, it is hard to say. I feel like it will be a mix between all these visions, but by all the build-up and the events, this is going to be way bigger than the Burning Legion invasion we got a decade ago, and we might see something unlike anything we had ever seen before in World of Warcraft. We might actually lose. Thank you for watching. Check out the 5th old god and how he's still alive by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on Roman mythology and the cult of Mithras by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time!